Hello there. This week we're going to be looking at the basic frame escape, which can be used very effectively from side control and half guard. First of all, frames in general in Jiu-Jitsu are very important. It's important to understand how to keep the space between somebody, and that's done with frames. So both how to frame and how to create the structures that are going to keep that space without using a lot of muscle, and how to break down those frames if we're trying to close that space is an integral part of Jiu-Jitsu. So we're going to start out right here. The basic frame we're going to use is just like a plank right there. That's what we're going to be using on their body. Okay? The movement that we're going to have to get down is right here. Both feet planted on the floor. And we're doing the frame escape, so we're on the bottom of side control. It's going to be a big bridge up over the shoulder, making sure you're pushing with both feet. Right? If you can get up on the balls of your feet, that's even better. So once again, a big bridge, and then without setting my hips down, a hip out, shoulders back, place my foot, and hip in. So once again on the other side, it's a big bridge. Notice how my elbows go up. It's not a bench press. I have my frame, bridge with my hips and my shoulders, hip out, move my shoulders back, so I have locked out arms. This is another frame. Place my foot over and put them back in the guard. There's a couple different ways that we can do this. We're going to look at them briefly in 1 second. So they have to understand hipping in, right? And they have to understand the bridge. So here we go. Shay's on top. Look, my right hand wants to control this arm. If I allow this arm to control my head, I have a problem because I can't face him anymore. We'll look at how to deal with that in a second. So my left hand is right here on his neck, not on his chest. He could put too much weight on me. It's on his neck, and I cup his shoulder. My right hand cups his bicep. What this does is it makes so he can't grab my head. If he reaches to the far side of my head with his left arm, I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to control his hip. Controlling his hip, or if he comes back for my head, I have to catch it. So he goes the other way, but I let it go. If I allow him come back to grab my head, now I have a problem. I can no longer look to that side. It's difficult for me to bridge, and that can't happen. So once again, I'm controlling. He goes back and forth. This is a good drill to start out with. Boom. Boom, and right away I'm starting to get on my side and work. Controlling this arm. It also keeps him from being able to run around my head freely, because when I hold this, he tries to run around, I can follow him. I'm always working with my right leg here, kind of high. I like to brace it on my leg like that, or just hold it up so he can't mount, right? And I hold right here. If he goes the other side with his arm, now I'm holding his hip. The other thing I'm doing is I'm keeping my elbow real tight so he doesn't swim in with his left leg. He swims in. Now I have a problem. Now he can mount. So when he's there, I have to get a little space, pull my elbow back in. He comes back for my head. I control. From here, his weight is more on my chest. He's sternum to sternum. I can lift with my bridge. My elbow goes this way. It's very important people try to bench press. It's not that. That's a completely different movement. It's 1, 2, 3. Once again on the other side. Here we go. 1, hips, shoulders. Some people like to take this leg and put a hook in right there to pull myself back in, and then I can pull the arm and sweep immediately off. Here we go again. He's on this side. No, it's not going to help. So here we go. There's my frame. Now what happens from here, remember, 1, this is very strong. Hips, shoulders. 2, I step my foot in. If I want to put the hook, that's fine as well. Boom. I'm going to put him back in my guard. That's my basic frame. I can also do the basic frame from right here in half guard. It's the same thing. 1, 2, 3. And I pull back. Now an important thing to understand now is that when I blow it, he gets my head. I blew it. This is a horrible position for me. I stick my thumbs in right here. Sit up for a second. There we go. You see they're right there. Still, I have that pressure on his neck. I'm going to lift the same thing. 1, right? 2. And I swing my head to the other side. Go back, please. If I can do the whole thing from there, that's fine as well. If I get the right pressure on his neck, 1, 2, 3. I can put him back in. That's basically my frame escape. There we go. So same thing. How he grabs my head now, I catch his arm. He grabs my head, I blow it. Boom. Lift, get my head out. Now same escapes. The last thing we can look at is he switches his hips and puts his right hip on the floor. Boom. When he does this, I no longer have the ability to lift him on my arms because his weight's way down by my hips. But he's sitting on the apex of my bridge. So my ability to move him is lifting my hips now. So same thing, my hands stay in the same place, but my right arm has to find the floor because it's going to maintain the space between he and I when I create it, so I can get my right knee in. What's going to happen here, if he doesn't react quick enough, sometimes we get an arm bar on this arm, and sometimes we get a sweep. But what I'm going to do, my elbow hits the floor, and I give a giant bridge, and then I move out. My right arm holds the space. 1, 2, right away, my leg slides in. Okay? If I do this quickly, and he doesn't have time to readjust, and that hip stays on the floor like it's going to this time because Shay's nice, is I go, look, 1, I'm not lifting with my arms now because he's too low, right? 2, my leg comes in like this, and a lot of times he falls over, just like that. But I get on top, or I can get the arm bar. Okay? The sweep and the arm bar are unlikely, but that's definitely how it works a lot of time. This is the core to my escaping side control. From here, I can bump and get the pummel and work that whole escape. From here, I frame with shoulders, put him in the guard. One of the most important escapes that you'll know, basically I believe you have to know the frame series, which is what we just showed, and the pummel series, which is another class, and then you're going to have a good solid set of escapes from side control. Thank you very much. Thanks, Coach Shay.
Yes, sir.
See you guys on the mat.